Hey guys, Attorney Walter Hnot. Now, look, I'm just going to give you a quick heads up. I'm not going pro or against this thing. This is basically the press release. This was on the 14th by the Social Security Administration. Let's get right into it. I know there's going to be a lot of political mumbo jumbo when it comes to people being for or against this. I'm going to try and stay away from that and just give you a neutral opinion from somebody who practices in the Social Security disability field on a daily basis. Let's go through this real quick. This is for immediate release from the press release group through the Social Security Administration via Mark Hinkle, the press officer. And this is obviously directly in combination with Keisha Kazi, who is the current commissioner of the Social Security Administration, who was pushed and presented with the identity of creating something like this by President Biden going forward with how the Social Security Administration should change, modify, adapt itself for the idea of promoting an agenda to advance equity, civil rights, racial justice, and equal opportunity for all. Now, let's get right into it. I'm going to take a moment to explain what's in it. This is only an intro, and then from there, in other videos, I'll be going through the entire thing, which I'm going to have to split up because, frankly, it's a pretty decent sized document. It's going to take a while to go through it all. So here's what you need to know. Let's go through it real quick. All right, Thursday, April 14th, 2022. So that's when it was released. Social Security Administration releases the Equity Action Plan. Now, remember, this is not like law, for example, or something that is something that people get to vote on, or that the senators are going to use, or that the House is going to use. This is an action plan within the SSA. Faith Moore, thank you so much for the $1.99 donation. Really appreciate it. Excellent. So let's read through this. Please, everybody, keep an open mind, and then I'll explain kind of my side to it. Open mind. Here we go. Today, the Social Security Administration released its first Equity Action Plan, supporting President Biden's whole of government equity agenda to advance equity, civil rights, racial justice, and equal opportunity for all. So equity was used way too many times in that sentence. Next paragraph. On January 20th, 2021, the president signed an executive order advancing racial equity and support for underserved communities through the federal government. The executive order requires all federal agencies to pursue a comprehensive approach to advancing equity for all, including people of color and other people who have been historically underserved, marginalized, and adversely affected by persistent poverty and inequality. Next paragraph. Social Security's programs touch the lives of nearly every American, providing income security for the diverse populations we serve, including people facing barriers, people with disabilities, people who are widowed, retirees, and their families, said Keisha Kazi, Acting Commissioner of the Social Security Administration. Systemic barriers may prevent people who need our programs the most from accessing them. Our Equity Action Plan will help to reduce these barriers and ensure people have access to our services. Social Security's Equity Action Plan includes, so here's the important part. Like all the other stuff is just quotes and fluffy stuff. Here's the important part. Number one, sweetie's over here, increasing collection of race and ethnicity data to help understand whether programs are equitably serving applicants and beneficiaries. Now, real quick, the reason this is interesting is that I was in a nonprofit meeting listening to people talk to the chief actuary on behalf of the SSA, Stephen Goss, who basically came out with some very bare bones basic information on the Black community and how Social Security benefits interact with them. And then it was just I don't remember the name of the nonprofit group, but it was advancing basically African-American, based, ideas. And she was like, okay, well, can we hear in the future more about how Social Security benefits are given to interacting with the African-American community? And he said, yeah, sure, we're working on it. Okay. So what's interesting is that a lot of people are like, they know every aspect of every little thing about everything that makes me and how my benefits interact. They don't. This is like the first step in that direction. William Randall, thank you, good sir. I appreciate the $5 donation. Thank you. Very cool. Number two, revising policies and practices to expand options for service delivery. Okay. We'll go through all of that. That includes a lot of things like accessing things, whether it's online, whether you can access the ERE, how fax systems are going to work, all that stuff. Okay. Number three, ensuring equitable access for unrepresented claimants in the disability application process. So the reality of the disability process is that a lot of people who would apply without representation, without an attorney, it would take them a heck of a lot longer. They frankly wouldn't have access to the ERE or any of that stuff. And they basically wouldn't know what comes next, what happens, etc. And as a result, and they even the side comment for them going to hearings is that they were like rocket docket claims, right? You get into the hearing, they'd ask you some questions, you're out in 15 minutes, done. And then when you have a hearing with an attorney, you're in there for like 45 minutes to an hour. So obviously things are a little bit different for underrepresented or unrepresented. And as a result of that, they're going to look at things that they can do to try and make it more equitable, more likely that somebody would have a fair shot at proving their claim before the SSA without having an actual attorney have to do those things. Okay, next one, number 4, decreasing burdens for people who identify as gender diverse or transgender in the Social Security number card application process. So we all know what that is. They're just going to add more options. That's all it is. You know, if you're not binary, they'll just add more options that you can choose. Final one, increasing access to research grant programs for historically Black colleges and universities and minority serving institutions and procurement opportunities for small and disadvantaged businesses. Now, that one right there is probably to some degree unconstitutional. I'll go more into that later, but the bottom line is the Social Security Administration should not be promoting the agenda. They can do statistical analysis of people, but they should not be paying for the agenda of specific minorities to, have their businesses paid for, to have certain college students, studying and then promoting or paying for it. Whatever. I mean, for statistical reasons, you could do that, sure, but they shouldn't be, basically funding minority serving institutions. What it should be for are for impoverished groups, right? Not, okay, this person's Black, Jewish, Asian, Latino. They are, it should be based on financial poverty, figuring out how to get the poor people out of the poor category and up the social ladder so that they have more money and they can work more and they can get more money out of the Social Security system at the end of the day. As a result of that, they pay more in, they get more. We want to take people out of the poor category and move them into the middle class, and the middle class category and move them into the upper class, etc., up the ladder. Okay. Final paragraph. To learn more about the actions outlined in the Equity Action Plan, please visit socialsecurity.gov/open/materials/SSA-EO-13985-equities-action-plan.pdf. For more information about efforts to redress systemic barriers in policy and programs to advance equity for all, visit www.whitehouse.gov/equity. All right. Aside from the fact that they need more synonyms for equity, because it gets to a point where it's just like, come on, guys. The thing here is this. Back in the day, I argued that there wasn't enough statistical understanding of what's going on in the economy. And I only learned that because I watched Stephen Goss give a report in which he couldn't answer questions specifically to the African-American community. We need to have a better understanding of statistical knowledge as to what's going on. But there is an inherent bottom line here that is not a good thing. You see, when they study and specify, and I mean, look, I'll read the exact thing here. Increasing access to research grant programs, given money to, for historically Black colleges. The problem inherent with that is that if you are, instead of just saying we're going to increase basically our research grant programs where you have like some master's level person creating a paper and a study of a particular population. The problem is that when they focus that specifically on African Americans and saying the culture did not achieve what the white culture did, or the Asian culture did, or the Latina culture did, or the Jewish culture did, or the Christian culture did, or the whatever. When they focus that in, you're creating this micro racism, which is not good. And it actually hurts the group that which you are intending to go ahead and basically study to help. So the wording of this is not good. It creates this minor micro racism, unfortunately, which is like, direction from the White House to go ahead and study a group because they didn't achieve the levels that these other groups did. Now, the ironic thing is that African Americans are highly successful in America, like massively successful. That's the beautiful good thing. This is not a situation where it's like there are no success. No, there's lots of successful. Look at sports industry. Even science has some of the greatest thinkers, right, that are African American. That's incredible. It's just across the White House, right? The Supreme Court, now 2 African American individuals on the Supreme Court. So the point is this: African Americans highly successful in America. But when you promote this idea, now let's keep reading. And minority serving institutions, another problem. The identity is not to provide specifically for minorities. The identity is to provide specifically for minorities that are impoverished, which means that you can take the word minorities and you can get rid of it and just use the word impoverished, because there are minorities that have lots and lots and lots of money. There are Native Americans who have casinos that are wealthier than you, everybody in this. If we took everybody in this chat session right now, right, and added up all of the wealth, we would not come close to the wealth of somebody who is leading a casino that they own. And that's the truth of it. That's the reality of it. So the bottom line is this whole document should be changed to be about poverty as opposed to minorities, and specifically, and they go right to the historically Black colleges. They go right to a specific minority, which actually puts that minority at a disadvantage. And procurement opportunities for small and disadvantaged businesses. Well, what kind of businesses? And that's what we're going to go into when we go through the full document and explain what the issues are related to it. And I think the bottom line here is that this is a good step in the right direction, because a lot of it is statistical analysis. They're hiding it under this identity of racial equality, minority equality, etc. But the idea is we do need to have a better study of how people are poor. Why are they still poor? How can we get them out of poverty? How can we get them producing and innovating and making America a better country? That's the idea. So we will go through this. I'm going to be doing a couple of videos tonight that are simpler videos than the subject of this. If you guys have particular things that you want me to comment on when I go through this, or if you have specific questions that you want me to go into when it comes to the Social Security Administration's Equity Action Plan and Agreement with EO 13985, if there's specific things that you want me to go into, well, let me know ahead of time in this video. That's why I'm doing this intro kind of trailer on this larger document. Once again, this is not a traditional law in the sense of the Senate and the House have to vote on it. This is purely an action plan. Some of this action plan is awesome. It's really great and it's amazing. And it's frankly, it's better logic and thinking that we were seeing from Commissioner Saul under the Trump era. And I know some people are going to be like, how could you say that? It's true. Some of what's in here is better than the whole Commissioner Saul era. And Commissioner Saul did a lot, but it was usually very pro-SSA, anti-claimant. Hopefully, we will see them using this in a positive way to support the American people, as opposed to basically making a battle path, a war plan to go ahead and get more money out of them while giving them less at the end of the day. There's always that. You have to be careful. Anyways, guys, I'll catch you a little bit later. You have a wonderful, wonderful day. We will go ahead. Yeah, they're not sending more money to minorities to go to school. They're not going to be doing that. They'll be doing it for studies about it, but they won't be going. I'll go into it later so you guys can see what's going on with that. All right. Anyways, guys, I'll catch you a little bit later. You have a wonderful, wonderful day. And basically, we'll go from there. Right. And remember, don't get too spicy about this. I know it's going to create a lot of fluster and anger, and people are going to be like, I'm not paying all of this money throughout my life so that they can figure out how to make these people do better than these people. I get that. I understand that. But just try and keep it cool and keep it centered. We're going to get through it, and then we'll walk through it. All right. We'll have a discussion about it. I'll catch you a little bit later. Have an absolutely wonderful day. Thanks so much, guys. I'll be back in about 5 minutes. All right. Bye-bye, guys. Bye-bye.